And we are live.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Orange family. Thank you guys for joining me on this beautiful Friday. Your favorite realtor here, Daniel Gonzalez with eLive Realty. Today, we are going to talk about the Austin market and the update of how things are going. But first, I want to start off with the Federal Reserve. Right now, it is projected that things are going to stay relatively consistent. The Federal Reserve has met in the, the 19th and the 20th, and they have chosen not to raise rates. They're going to hold, and it is still projected that they will raise another 25 basis points by the end of the year. But at the same time, we do have to keep in mind the Federal Reserve has to paint an image to consumers, right? So another thing that they noted in their meeting was that rates are going to stay higher for longer. But as I say to you guys, it's all about the data and how they present themselves to us, the consumers, right? Because if we feel that they're going to bring rates down soon, people are going to start buying. People are going to start, jumping back into the market, which will then bring an uplifting to inflation. In all hopes, though, things are going somewhat according to plan as the Federal Reserve is continuing to fight inflation, and core inflation has stayed declining. With that, the market has been shifted, in a whole, not necessarily another drastic direction, but it has shifted. Right now, I wanted to dive into some stats with you guys about how the Austin market is doing. Austin Round Rock MSA. According to the ABOR statistics, we are sitting at a pretty good time for the market. Mainly depending on your perspective. There's a lot of opportunity that's out there for us. We just have to look in the right places, right? I want to start off with talking about the median home price of Austin and Round Rock MSA. We started at around 550 of May of last year, 550,000, and we're now currently sitting at 460,000 as of August of this year, right? That is a 16% drop, right, compared to where we were at the height of the market here in Austin. And I also wanted to tell you guys about the average days on market here in Austin, Texas, and that has came up significantly to about 300%. So we started at 15 days last year in May, May it was, yes. 15 days was the relatively amount of days that a household, usually it was, depending, could be a lot faster, right? It was a lot faster. Now we're sitting at around 60 days on the market, and that's an upbringing of about 45 days. And then active listings right now have really shot up. Inventory has definitely stayed on the market for longer. We were at 4,173 in the month of May, and now month of May of last year. And now we're at 9,955, right? That is about 138% increase from where we were last year. That is really a blessing and a curse, but mainly it's all about your perspective. The reason that is that although we are seeing higher amounts of inventory, there is a great correlation with prices coming down, right? And with that, buyers are really having a lot more opportunity to be in the market right now compared to where we were last year with rates being at 2%. The last stat I want to touch on is the months of inventory. There is a lot more information that I could provide to you guys, and I'd love to give you guys when it comes to numbers and data. That is my thing. So please don't hesitate if you'd like a deeper insight. But the months of inventory here in Austin, and real quick, months of inventory is the amount of, it's a measurement that ABOR uses to Austin Board of Realtors. as the amount of inventory that would be left if we stop making houses or constructing houses as of today, right? As of this current moment in time, there would be this amount of inventory in the market, which would be an amount of months. Last year, we were sitting at around 1.2, if not less. In some months, we saw sometimes 0.5, 0.7. Now we're sitting at around 3.8, right? And that is crazy compared to where we were last year. We almost saw not even a whole percentage of inventory. So the months of inventory has really increased and really giving a greater opportunity for buyers. I mean, that percentage-wise, it's a 320% increase. So that's crazy stuff, right? Or 2.6 months. Like I was saying, I mean, there is a lot more insight that we could dive into, but that's the short and concise stuff for you guys. I want to touch on, just what makes Austin and other markets, like California, New York, other things like that, other markets. The main principle or the main pillars as to why these markets are still thriving, right? Not seeing a huge correction compared to other places nationally, is because of economical growth, population growth, job growth, and consumer confidence, right? Those three things is what makes every city, skyrocket, every town to a city. Right? Lastly, there is a lot of shift for those who are looking to buy, mainly because, with these prices coming down, you have a lot more negotiation power, you have a lot more opportunity to get your closing costs paid for, get your, if you got a zero down program, get, your closing costs negotiated or paid for with a new build company. Next thing you know, you're not putting anything down to buy a house, and it all just varies that you connect with us to gather more information. It's like the great Warren Buffett said, be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. I don't know if we have any questions there for us right now.
I do not have any questions from the chat. I don't know if the team has any questions from their contacts.
The promos going on, Daniel, can you share those really briefly?
Yeah. So right now there's a lot of opportunity when it comes to new build homes. They're offering really low interest rates on top of paying your closing costs with discounted pricing, right? And I mean, it's not just with new build homes. You see houses that are resale homes that are coming down in pricing like crazy. Sellers now have had to really make accommodations to how they market their home to get it sold quicker, right? They're not only offering a lower price, but they're offering to buy down your interest rate. They're offering, things with lenders where they're, they're bringing down the price, buying down the interest rate, and if you have a good agent like myself or anyone here on eLits, you'll get those closing costs paid for in a jiffy, right?
Okay, awesome. Remind everyone, we'll be live streaming this in Spanish.
Yes, guys, we will be doing the next one in Spanish. I also wanted to touch on one more thing too before we go. When it comes down to the way things are right now, you don't have to use a loan to buy a house. Please remember that there are great ways to buy a home without a bank, right? And that there's a lot of opportunity for that right now because sellers need to sell. So for my folks who have, let's say a good down payment, but just don't have great credit for a loan, you can always work things out with seller financing or other forms of getting creative with. It all comes down to who you have as your realtor. But yeah, please stay tuned for the Spanish version, and we appreciate you guys for coming out. And if you want to reach out to the company, my phone number is 512-590-0740. Again, it is 512-590-0740. Thank you guys for stopping by, and y'all take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Woo!